everybody, welcome back to my channel. Sorry I have been gone for so long. May last year, you guys were, if you're following along, you knew that my grandmother had just passed away and I was trying to get ahead on things. Then school happened, end of school happened, allergy shots happened, and over the summer, as I'm trying to get back into the groove of things, I wound up spilling a cup of tea on my laptop, making it very, very hard for me to edit videos or anything. So I just kind of took a break from YouTube, took a break from basically everything, and just tried to focus on me. I'm still going through allergy shots. I'm still in the build-up phase. I've been in the build-up phase for 7 months now. And some days are worse than others, like today. Today's a pretty bad day. All stuffy, congested, can't breathe at all. But we're gonna power through it. We're gonna get to this. What I want to do today is I want to show you how I set up my 2020 budget binder or budget planner. I'm doing it a little different this year. This is last year's budget planner, and I'll flip through a couple months with you guys to kind of give you an idea of, if you haven't seen my other videos, give you an idea of what I've done in the past and kind of explain what I'm doing this year. So this is April 2019, and what I had done is I would always come in and set up my monthly at a glance calendar. And then we were being paid monthly at the time, once a month. Sometimes I get paid, but we basically live off my husband's income. And so I would come in and I would set up the month, our no spend tracker. April, I did really, really good. Towards the end of 2019 though, I stopped tracking no spends. It was getting insane. In the fall we had football season, and my son doesn't play football, but he's in band, so that means he was in marching band. So the football schedule was our schedule, and it was crazy. It went from August all the way through middle of November till they got knocked out of playoffs. But anyways, that contributed to my absence. And I would come through and set up our paycheck budget for the month and kind of go down through. These both are free printables on my blog. I can leave a link below. But what I found is that this sheet worked great when we were paid weekly. And, we only had like a limited amount of things coming out, but I was getting really cramped when it came to monthly paychecks. So that was the first problem I was having. And I was kind of muddling through it because I didn't really have time or to create a printable and edit it. And I didn't have a laptop to do it at the time. But what I also found was that I had set up these monthly reviews and I never really came back to them. And that was driving me crazy. I loved doing the weekly spreads. I loved seeing, like where bills were coming out. I loved having this sinking fund tracker at the time. What days I was really paying a ton of money. We were obviously sick through some of here because there's a lot of prescription money coming out. This was right after my daughter's surgery, actually, right after her adenoids came out. I really liked having the breakdown of cash envelopes going on. And again, the sinking fund tracker I enjoyed. But what I found I was having a problem with was like things that were a little bit in the future, such as taxes, inspections, things that I knew were coming up but couldn't remember when, propane, spring photos, yearbooks, things like that. Things that I was allocating money for, and I knew were coming up but couldn't really remember when. And so, over the summer I still kept up with planning, but you'll see that by the fall, because we were really busy with school and dance and football, marching band, everything, my style changed. So I still would come set up the monthly. I started doing what was coming up this month, and I don't know where that came from. Like things coming up this month and things that would be coming up in the future. So my middle decided to join band, and with that came a clarinet rental. Now that clarinet, he wants to be in band all the time. The way our school does it is they want you to go until at least the first concert. And so my philosophy is rent it until at least the first concert. And if he doesn't like it, I can return it and back out of the rental agreement and I'm done. I don't have to worry about it. However, just like with his brother, he really enjoys it. He wants to stay in band. And so rather than drawing it out for like the full grand, you know, renting it and paying the full grand over time, I am in February or March just going to go and pay it off at a 40% discount. So I'll pay a lot less and be done with this payment. But anyways, side note, you'll see that my style kind of changed. Like I was just doing the minimal. I was no longer keeping track of our sinking funds over here because I didn't have the time. But I was still, you know, I liked seeing it as the days went on. You know, I really enjoy the daily, but it's a lot of space and I wasn't using it all. And this weekend is actually kind of funny. This is when we had gotten our puppy. And so there were a lot of pet expenses. That's another tangent. When we picked her up from somebody that their dog had like an accidental litter before she could get her spayed. It was the second litter that year, and so she was just trying to like get rid of the pups. So we picked one up. Oh my gosh, was she covered in fleas? And she was, you know, tapeworms and everything. We had it took like 6-8 weeks to get her all fixed up. We got her all fixed up. But anyways, what I found I was missing, you know, was that long-term planning, you know, things coming up. I found I was also missing like our monthly spending categories. I noticed in the fall how much we spent on food was insane. Oh my gosh. I have an elementary schooler, I have a middle schooler, and I have a high schooler, and we were going through so much food, and I wanted to make sure that that was still on par. Also fuel. I tried to keep our fuel costs at a minimum by, you know, I would go down and pick up the kids from school, take them to their after school activities, and if it was football night, I would stay downtown and my husband would bring them home because he was bring the younger two home. You know, he was going home anyways. Dinner was already done at home, and he would just bring them home, reheat the dinner, and call it done. And I would stay downtown and wait until the football game was done, but we still wound up spending a lot of money on food. I wanted to stop calculating how much we spent on sinking funds at the end of the year. Like I would always go through our planner, our budget at the end of the month or at the end of the year, see how much we spent in our sinking funds. And I wanted to stop that. I wanted to have like a tracker throughout the year because I tried it this year, but as you saw, you know, I stopped calculating it. I stopped keeping up with it. There were numerous factors in there, but keeping up with it weekly got to be a little too much. So this was great while it lasted, but it's not working for my season of life right now. So this is my catch-all planner for 2020. It's Happy Planner. It's kind of Franken-planned. I don't know if you can see all those tabs in there. I have goals, budget, calendar, home, health, journal, notes, a whole bunch of stuff, but I like having it in one planner, first of all, rather than a couple different ones. But what I decided to do this year for budgeting, again, is to kind of create my own based off our needs. And there is a piece of dog hair stuck under there. Oh my goodness, Lilo, you're leaving dog hair everywhere. So first, I like this jar that Happy Planner has, where I can count, you know, keep track of how much I paid this month, how much has been paid in 2020, and keep track with our total since 2014. I have one of these in our 2019 budget planner right here. I really enjoyed keeping up with this. It's nice to kind of see the jar fill, and B, see this number get bigger and bigger and bigger. I wanted to keep with this. I also have a listing of our debt accounts. This is one thing I have kept hidden basically since I started. This is one thing I don't want to share as far as our budgeting goes. And from there, it goes into the long-term planning that I was talking about. Like, I wanted to know, okay, what was coming up? So you'll see over here in a second, like I knew every year vision exams are in July. That's just how they are. District taxes August, county taxes March. We always have our AAA in June. I try to get the instruments cleaned because it's right after band and right before band camp. So I need to know that's coming. That's about $200 for the trumpet, and I think it's going to be the same for the clarinet. You know, I have to register my car in August. I pay for 2 years at a time, so that's every even year, along with our septic, getting our septic cleaned, which is actually in June. Band dues, just things that I knew were coming up. I wanted to have that kind of warning. Now, one thing I am doing different this year, and you can see that over here, is I divided out our medical, dental, and vision sinking funds. What I found, and this has happened more often than I care, I think there's been like 1 or 2 years where this didn't happen. I used to lump together our medical, our vision, and our dental. Like all of it was in one lump sum. This is what we've spent on all 3 of them over the last year. So we're going to save up roughly that much this year, and I would lump it all together. Inevitably, I would have some big medical bills come up, like my daughter's adenoid surgery last year, or my son had blood work done in June, because he was just not feeling good, thought he had mono. And so we had these big bills coming up that inevitably would take money from the combined sinking fund. And then when it came time for our vision exams, like the money would be there in November, but it wasn't there when I owed it. And so I had to borrow from other sinking funds. And I wanted to stop doing that. So I separated them this year. And then as you can see, because our vision exams are in July, you know, we started our sinking funds in December. So by July, our July paycheck, that is the last in our vision sinking fund. I will have $1,000 saved up by then, and that's it, done. My husband's company truck, they take that out of the November paycheck. So I need to have, you know, $1,000 saved up by the November paycheck so I can filter it back in to our income. The septic, again, they're going to come out and pump it in June. So I need $300 saved up before June. So just little things like that. I wanted to make sure that, you know, I was keeping track of that as well. Next is 52-week savings tracker. Now I have a version of this on my blog. It's free, a free printable. Again, I'll leave that link down below, but because we get paid monthly, I don't use 52-week savings trackers anymore. I use this more, I'm using this more of a, you know, what impulse purchases did I make throughout the week? Now this is January 8th when I'm filming this. So we're a week into the new year, and I haven't made any purchases because I haven't gone anywhere. And the purchases I have made were my daughter's birthday presents, and that was planned for purchases, not impulse purchases. So I want to know at the end of the year, like, how much money did I spend on impulse purchases? I'm hoping that being aware of this, I will spend less money. A bill pay checklist. This is very similar to the one that is on my free resource library. It's just portrait, not landscape. And that way I don't have to keep like turning this every single time. It's just this way. But again, I can see down here when things are coming up. So, you know, propane, they delivered in January. We're on a different delivery schedule and I'm still trying to figure that out. But, you know, taxes are here. And so when, you know, propane was delivered, that's what it is. When taxes come in, I'll fill that amount out. Same with car registration. When I find out these numbers, I'll fill them in and adjust as necessary. The reason I adjust as necessary is I adjust these for next year as necessary. So our non-monthly sinking fund is for things like our propane, our trash bill, our tax bill, our AAA bill, things that are not our monthly bills, but I still need to save up for over the year. So after this, I left a blank page, and I did that on purpose because, you know, I was testing this out for the month of December, and I wanted to, you know, just be able to, when December was done, take it out, move on to January, and so on and so forth. So here's some changes I made. First of all, I am color coding what bill they come out of. So as you can see, you know, before payday is blue, after payday is purple, and that purple then coincides with the beginning of January, which is also purple because it's under the same paycheck. At the bottom, I have little reminders of things coming up, you know, that are happening this month and things coming up next month. Now for this, I use this as the calendar month, not our pay month. So, Remember, in December, we're starting our 2020 budget with this new paycheck, and so our new sinking funds are starting with that paycheck. And then upcoming in January calendar month is the band, the marching band is going to Disney in November, and so I need to make the initial payment for that, and the chorus is going to see a Broadway show in April, and I need to make payments for that. So just, kind of a reminder. And then what the sinking funds were, I didn't fill that in though. And then this is the paycheck breakdown. So what our income was, what we thought it would be, what it actually was, and then he got a bonus, and then all of our sinking funds, all of our bills, our cash envelopes, and then anything that is like a debit payment. I still have to go through, we're still not done with this paycheck, so I will go through and reconcile all this. But then with that is an expense tracker. Now, this is going to take a bit for me to get used to seeing because it's not in the weekly format. I really like the weekly format, but I'm going to come through here and categorize these so I kind of get that same feel, where they were highlighted at the bottom of the Happy Planner. I'll still get that same, okay, so this is how we're spending in categories. From there, I have these paper clipped, but you'll see what they are in a minute. One of them is a debt tracker, from our debt accounts. The other one is a net worth tracker. That's something new I'm trying this year, is to track our net worth. I don't know why mid-30s maybe does that to you. But then as I reconcile our budget, our month's budget, I will then go through and review it. So what was the category? What did we budget? What did we actually spend? Were we over or under? Why? And then go through and answer some questions about how we could change that going into January. And for now, that is kind of the end of that. I'm still deciding whether or not I want to add a couple more pages in here. I'm tweaking it as I go. But anyways, now into January, again, the first part of the paycheck. I categorize this as a different color because this is not something that's a monthly bill, and it was honestly something that was sprung on us like 2 weeks before because the band boosters finally decided how much we would be paying to go. So that's a different color because of that. And then propane bill is a different color. I think the trash bill was back here too, if I remember correctly. Yeah, trash bill is a different color because it comes out of one of the sinking funds. I have fuel, what we spent on fuel, how much we actually saved, how much we spent on food, keeping track of these two things. These are my biggest categories I have issues with. But then to remember that, the first band trip payment is due during this calendar month. We have a propane bill due at the end of this calendar month, and that we can get our tax info this calendar month. And then upcoming next calendar month is our mortgage increases slightly by like $15. We can file taxes, and that the high school yearbook order is due if I want it at a discount. I'm still debating whether or not he really needs a yearbook as a freshman. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you really need a yearbook as a freshman? I mean, he knows some of the seniors, but I don't know. So I still have to set up this. That will be another video. But then again, it goes into expense trackers. And as you can see, this one's a little different than what I had for December. I want to have a cash tracker over here so I can keep track of how much we spent on food. But also, I should mention, these two trackers I am doing as over the budget month. So this will be December 15th to January 14th, how much we spent on fuel that month. So I can budget January 15th to February 14th a little bit better. I think it's February, when our February paycheck is. So I can have more accurate numbers for this paycheck. Sinking fund tracker, how much we're depositing, and then the balance from there. And this is going to be for any debit expenses like fuel. I don't have a cash envelope for fuel. I use my debit card for fuel. From there, so these are the two pages that on December were kind of clipped closed. So the order that we're going through our debt, which account it is, the starting balance. I want to change these movies around, but the starting balance, the minimum payment, the payment we made, and then the ending balance. So I need to flip these. Not doing it right now though, because I already printed it out. And then, our overall progress. I like to leave this blank because I like to put little happy planner motivational stickers here. I could probably put it in quotes or something. I don't know. I'm still tweaking this. And then January net worth. So when I'm reviewing it, what December's net worth was, our assets, liabilities, our January net worth, and how it changed from December. Very simple. That's really all I need. I don't need percent changes or whatever. I just need how is it changing over time. I've debated putting a little graph here. I don't know. Still trying to go through and figure out what I need for this. And then again, the review. So the category, budgeted actual, were we over or under, and any comments on why we were over and under, and then questions to ask for February. Now I do have February in here only because I need to be setting up January soon. But then again, it's pretty much the same. And like I said, when 1 month is done, I can easily just pull it out and stick another month in. And that way I don't have to worry about keeping, like part of February in here when we're already on the next month. So that is how I have our 2020 budget planner set up. It kind of, for me, it fixes the shortfallings that the Happy Planner was giving me, and it's going to help me see our overall finances a little bit better. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please click that subscribe button and stay tuned, because coming up is me setting up our January to February paycheck budget. So until next time, bye.